feel though that response is disrespectful to Jalen Hurts?
We have to stop allowing people to have excuses to disrespect Jalen Hurts. Cam recently said I was playing things safe, so let me cook for a second here, right? So there's different ways to look at it. Historically and presently, Jalen Hurts is the top 10 quarterback, and you're going to look at it different ways. You're going to look at talents above X's and O's, the ability to help your team win, and then to me, it's proximity to the GOAT. Let's take Cam Newton, right? What made Cam Newton great? He could be powerful in short yardage and goal line. He could extend plays with his legs. He was this big physical presence. So is Jalen Hurts, right? Cam Newton went to the playoffs 4 times. Jalen Hurts been to the playoffs 4 times already. Cam Newton went to 3 Pro Bowls. Jalen Hurts already been to 2. Cam Newton was an MVP, and he got to the Super Bowl, and he forgot to bring his cape. When Jalen Hurts is going to the Super Bowl, he's brought his cape, and he's also brought the Avengers with him, who are not even in D.C. They in Marvel, right? And so now let's think about this. Okay, let's go to winning. Eli Manning is going to be a Hall of Famer. Why is Eli Manning going to be a Hall of Famer? Because he had 2 epic runs to the Super Bowl. And in those Super Bowls, he played great, and he beat the GOAT, not only of that time, but the GOAT of the era, right? But he's only been to 4 Pro Bowls. He never got an MVP vote. He was never an All-Pro. Jalen Hurts has done all of those things. Right now let's look at Jalen Hurts in this time. In the Super Bowl, how do we measure every quarterback in the AFC? What is your proximity to Patrick Mahomes? You know the 3 quarterbacks that's beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? I know who they are. They're Joe Burrow, they're Tom Brady, and they're Jalen Hurts. And not only did Jalen Hurts beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl, he outplayed him in the Super Bowl. And so now here is what I think. If you don't want to count Jalen Hurts in your top 10, I have one question. Who's in the top 10? And how do you get there? And the last thing is this, right? Cam Newton is using excuses to not put Jalen Hurts in the top 10. Excuses are tools of incompetence that build monuments of nothingness, and those who major in their usage are non-achievers. The ring that Jalen Hurts is walking around with says top 10 to me. Tell Cam to show you.
So I got a few comments saying, Eagle Owl, you should react to the Ryan Clark one. Ryan Clark. So I purposely avoided this video to get my raw reaction. So I just let it rock out. It was 2 minutes. I seen it on X. The link will be in the description. If you got an X account, you can watch it. But Ryan Clark absolutely cooked. He absolutely cooked. And even with the Eli Manning comparisons, he's like, yo, Jalen Hurts was an All-Pro. Eli Manning was never that. Jalen Hurts is right behind Cam Newton in Pro Bowl votes. So it's coming off like a little jealousy. In my personal opinion, I think Cam is jealous. And yes, I am milking this Cam content because it's interesting how a guy like Cam Newton, the things he did, MVP, he went to the Super Bowl and lost, just to become this guy he hated in the media, downplaying other quarterbacks' success. Again, Ryan Clark said it, like, you coming up with excuses on why he's not top 10, and he beat Patrick Mahomes. Beat him a couple times, and Jalen Hurts continued to outplay Patrick Mahomes. Whereas though the other quarterbacks can't do it, the Lamar Jacksons can't do it. Joe Burrow did it, one time to get to the Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow folded in the Super Bowl. So Jalen Hurts should be top 5. I like what he said, and I also like what Dan Orlovsky said. Dan Orlovsky said, like, look, you could put them anywhere you want, but the NFC right now runs through the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. You got to get past Jalen Hurts in order to get to the big game. Now, can these teams do it in the NFC? I don't know, because I look at the Rams. I think they still too small up front. You look at our division, who is the Commanders, 55, 23 them. So you have to get through Jalen Hurts. You have to. And what teams show, it's not that easy to get through Jalen Hurts. It's just not. But again, Ryan Clark absolutely cooked Cam Newton. Cam Newton he just becoming a hater. He's not only hating on Jalen Hurts. The reason why I'm seeing this on my feed is because I'm a Eagles fan, but he's hating on all these young quarterbacks, the Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. He hating on a couple guys like, yo, it's getting out of hand. Cam Newton is getting out of hand. And it's not fair analysis, especially on Jalen Hurts, because he's like, yo, if I had these, and that's why I think it's jealousy. If I had these weapons, or Lamar Jackson had these weapons, imagine what he can do with it. I always say Jalen Hurts' best attribute is that he get the best out of everybody. I just don't know how, but he do. A.J. Brown comes from the Tennessee Titans, 3 straight All-Pros. Devontae Smith been with the Eagles all his career, so it's really hard to judge if we're really getting the best out of him. In my opinion, I think we are. Dallas Goedert could have had a career year, but he missed 4 games. Saquon Barkley had a career year. DeAndre Swift had a career year. Miles Sanders had a career year. Our offensive line looked the best it ever looked. And again, you just get the best out of your talent with Jalen Hurts. Can't be explained. It's more the eye test thing. It's more the eye test thing. We got to remember, too, when we first traded for A.J. Brown, remember that wide receiver market? It was Tyreek Hill out there. It was DeAndre Hopkins. Who else? It was a couple wide receivers. And a lot of people was clowning us at that time. Like, why would y'all go get A.J. Brown when this guy and this guy and this guy out there? Because remember, Tyreek Hill was the big one. Then, the Dolphins sent the Hall to the Kansas City Chiefs. And remember, we was like, Eagles fans, like, dang, we should have really got Tyreek Hill. But when we got A.J. Brown, I'm like, that guy is young and that guy is different. He's worth the money. I'm telling you. And remember, at that time, if you watch my old channel, I was like, A.J. Brown's going to be the best receiver to ever play in Philadelphia. Nah, he's not. Look at all these great receivers we have. We 3 years in. Am I right on that? And it's not just A.J. Brown talent. It's the quarterback that's getting the best out of him. I believe he's getting the best out of him, man. And then even back to Devontae Smith, he could have had 1,000 yards again if he didn't miss a couple games. He could have had 1,000 yards again. So while you try to downplay Jalen Hurts' success, he continues to do big things. Jalen Hurts, man. So Cam Newton, I'm sorry, man. You fumbled in the Super Bowl, then dive on that fumble. Your defense held Peyton Manning to 1 touchdown. I think his QBR was in the single digits, like 5 or 8 or something like that. You had to help, bro. You had to help, but you couldn't get it done. You left your cape. Like Ryan Clark said, you left your cape. Jalen Hurts had his on, plus the other Avengers had theirs on. And if you watch that Super Bowl, and Cam even said it, they shut down Saquon Barkley. They asked Jalen Hurts to win the game. And every time teams go with that approach, it's never a good idea because we do you worse. Steelers went with that approach, and the Chiefs went with that approach. Jalen Hurts put up numbers. What Jalen Hurts do, he would sacrifice his numbers. He always say this is about winning. It's not just talking. Because we seen interviews of you saying MVP is more important than championships. It's not just about talking. Jalen Hurts would literally sacrifice his stats to win. Now, if he need to throw the ball, he will. But he will sacrifice his stats to win. He truly doesn't care. If he throw for 100 yards and we won the game, he'll be happy about that. It just is what it is. If he threw for 500 yards and we lost the game, he will be pissed about that. Not fake emotions, just talking or just, chatter. Some of these guys be lying. I think Jalen Hurts truly feel that way. Because statistically, in the passing game, Jalen Hurts couldn't have the year he wanted because Saquon was having a year. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to take the back seat. But anytime my number is called, I can do it. I can get it done. That's exactly what he did. And that's why, as an Eagles fan, I prefer Jalen Hurts. If you're a stats lover, you like Joe Burrow, but you'll never get to the playoffs. If you're a stat lover, you love a Cam Newton. Well, Cam Newton 2 years. It's not like he was just dominant his career. You love a Cam Newton 2 years. If you're a stat lover, you love Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson can't get over the hump. He can't. But that's all I got for you guys, man. This was a good one to react to. I told you I purposely avoided this video because I wanted to get my raw reaction. And shout out to Ryan Clark. The 4-letter network might copyright strike me for it, but it is what it is. I tried to get it up, but if they copyright strike me for it, I still keep it up. It is what it is, man. But this is Eagle Al, man. I'm out.